Queensland was once home to over 1 million koalas, but with the relentless pace of human expansion, their numbers have dropped by almost 80% since the 1990s, while the human population is still growing at 1,000 people per week. And that number is only set to grow, putting further pressures on surrounding wildlife. Without immediate intervention, koalas could face extinction. But a group of local residents and experts are trying to reverse this trend. The lush land that hugs Australia's east coast is one of the most desirable places for human settlement, but it's also prime koala habitat. As a result, increasing numbers of these marsupials are being forced to live within the city. Jon Hanger is a wildlife vet and founding member of the Koala Research Network. You brought me to an area that I would have thought you couldn't possibly have koalas because it's so busy. Why this area?
This park really illustrates, I guess, in a really good way how the threats that urban koalas are facing. They get killed on the roads because often they cross at night when they're difficult to see and drivers just don't see them, so they'll often get killed on this road. In fact, this road is really a hot spot for koala deaths in the area. Certainly when they get on the rail lines, with a busy rail line where you've got trains running every couple of minutes, they're exposed to really significant injury and death, obviously. And so there's really a whole range of threats that they're exposed to in this sort of environment.
Local experts like Jon are committed to protecting the koala before it's too late. But with their population scattered throughout the city, the first step to saving them is monitoring them. Jon and his team have been intensely studying a population in the Moreton Bay region of Brisbane. Today they're tracking by radio signal a pre-tagged koala named Sunny. So the guys are heading up the tree now. We've got to be quiet to capture a koala so they can then check it out for the health check later on.
Yep. Come leg up. Don't let him out there.
Oh, not distressed. Is he okay? Look at him. Oh, I felt my heart pumping at that whole thing. Here he goes. Okay, this is the food for the koala, just like this?
Just like that, perfect.
But on top of his head.
That's what he's used to doing.
We know him quite well. Sonny's a really nice little lad, so he's pretty calm.
Now Sunny will head off to the vet where he will be screened for diseases. Koalas are currently listed as under threat. If nothing is done, they could be extinct in less than 50 years. The seriousness of the situation isn't lost on some local residents who are trying to tackle habitat erosion. Hi, Vanda. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What are you guys doing here today?
I was just making sure that this little stake had a marker in it so we know when to water.
Okay.
We're planting koala food trees here.
Okay, being eucalyptus?
Yes. There are 200 species of eucalypts in Queensland, but koalas eat only 22, so we have to be very specific about what we plant.
And how important is this work for the koala survival?
Incredibly important, because this area will never be cleared for any sort of development. So we're surrounded, even though you can't see it, with high-density urban development. So if we can increase the carrying capacity of this site for koalas, it will encourage them to move into here, which is much safer for them than out there.
Just one koala can eat upwards of 500 leaves per day, moving from tree to tree.
So they browse basically all day because eucalypts are fairly nutrient poor, energy-wise.
Right. All right, so how many more trees have we got to do?
Oh, I think another 3 or 4 over there.
Okay. Planting trees provides one solution for protecting the koala, But as urbanisation continues, roads and railway lines will inevitably expand, putting these animals in harm's way. Currently, up to 300 koalas are killed by vehicles here each year. But I'm meeting up with vet Jon again, who wants me to see an intervention which is making a difference at a railway line.
It's essentially a water drainage culvert, but there are a few additions. There's a post and rail to help the wildlife get off the ground.
How do they know to use these culverts?
Well, I guess initially they don't know, Juliet. They're familiar with the habitat as it was, and when we put these impacts in and change the landscape, they have to learn to use it. But the essential features really are that we put a koala-proof fence along the rail corridor, and that ensures that they don't go onto the rail corridor and get killed. And if they do work their way along the fence, ultimately they'll end up finding one or more of these culverts. And so with a bit of exploration, they'll often go through.
To get an idea of how effective they are, Jon and the team have put up motion-sensitive cameras.
And these show a range of wildlife using the culverts, including the koalas. Yeah, so here's a koala going into a group of culverts who explored a culvert but didn't go through it. And then we've got a group of kangaroos using it. A possum, another koala at a different culvert, and then coming out the other side is one of our koalas.
Helping koalas navigate the urban jungle is essential to boosting their numbers, but the most significant factor in ensuring their survival is disease prevention. I'm back at the clinic where Sunny, the captured koala, is ready for his checkup.
Excellent.
Vet Amy Robbins is about to give Sunny a sedative. This is just to settle him so he can get his injection.
Yeah, just lull him into a false sense of security.
Yeah, trick him. Something's about to happen, but you don't know it yet.
Oh, what a good boy. What a brave little boy.
Checking teeth.
Yeah, and the colour of his gums, and making sure he's got good refill time, which is a sense of how good his blood pressure is. And I have a look at the bladder. So this is obviously a big important thing for chlamydia. So it causes cystitis, so that causes inflammation of the bladder wall, I guess.
Chlamydia has reached epidemic proportions amongst koalas in Australia, with over half the population infected. If left untreated, it can cause infertility, blindness and death.
Calculates an average. But generally his bladder's looking pretty healthy there.
Sunny is in the clear. Tell me about the significance of, when you're testing for chlamydia and the Moreton Bay project.
Disease has been shown that if you can control that one factor, then you can actually turn around declining populations. So by going in there and doing the treatment and the vaccination against chlamydia, we've actually kind of turned that population around, and it's on a trajectory for growth now. It's phenomenal. We've never had such a big, significant project in koalas before, so it's really valuable scientifically. So now we're going to roll him over, and I'm going to
He's
fit
waking
the
up.
collar. Yeah, because he's waking up a little bit.
Okay.
You ready?
Before letting the koala recuperate, Amy fits another tracker collar. It's now time for Sunny to be released. At Jon's study site, they've had some amazing results.
The fact, I guess, that we can not only make the individuals healthy, but the population's on a growth trajectory now. So it was on quite a steep downward decline towards extinction, and so now we're getting around about 20% growth per annum, which is just an astounding turnaround. So
amazing.
Very gratifying. You go that way.
No. There you go.